Okay, hello everyone. So today's video is going to be about all of the albums that I got in the year. I've done this kind of year in review in the past. So I'm just going to show you all of the 2022 releases that I've got. I'm going to show you also some of the non-2022 releases that I got. But I'm also going to be talking about some of my favorites from the year, music-wise. Yeah, I'm just going to go in chronological order of release so we can just get started. So the very first album of the year was Obtention's Novella. This album release was very unexpected for me. I didn't really expect any of Obtention's comebacks to happen this year, so I'm happy that this did happen, although I will say that this isn't like my favorite album of theirs. I've always been like entirely in love with Obtention's discography, but this just did not do it for me as much as all of their other albums have in the past, especially because this title track was more ballady, I guess. I don't know if that's even the correct term, but it was a slow song, and that's never really my thing. And if it is, it's like in really specific kind of a context. So yeah, this album just wasn't my favorite thing, although I mean I was still happy that Obtention really got to have a comeback, so I couldn't really complain. So there weren't any releases in February that I got. So if we move to March, first one is Brave Girls. They had their Thank You album. So with this album, they also had platform albums, but those I do not have like easy access to. So I'll just show these, but this one here is just my normal version. This one here is my fan signed copy because I did get to finally meet and talk to Brave Girls. I would say this is probably one of the most surreal moments of 2022 is getting to talk to them, you know, talk to my favorite girls, literally. I also got to see Brave Girls live this year, so that was really insane. It was, at least for the first like 8 months of the year, a pretty good year to be a Fearless because they were pretty active. I feel like this as a whole is probably one of my favorite albums of the year. There's only 4 songs on it, but I think all of them are really, really good. Thank You is definitely one of my tops of the year. It's definitely got to be like around number 1. I don't know if anything else beats it. I'm still in the midst of ranking all my favorite songs for the year, but Thank You is definitely really high up on my list, and also You and I is one of my favorite B-sides of the year. I love that song so much, but also Love Is Gone and Can I Love You are awesome songs, and I am very impatiently waiting a Brave Girls comeback. And also in March was Glitch Mode, NCT Dream. So yeah, I just have both versions and then Mark's digipack here. So this, again, I have to kind of be honest, this is not my favorite Dream comeback. I think concept wise I really like the concept, but sonically it just wasn't really my favorite thing. Glitch Mode isn't really my favorite song of theirs. On this album specifically, I really, really love Arcade. I think that song is amazing. Moving on to April, I have IVE's Love Dive. I really like this song, and I mean, it's like really, really popular, one of the most popular songs of the year. But I don't really collect IVE like that. But I did still feel compelled to buy this. Musically, I really love IVE. I'm not like super into them as a group, but I think musically they are pretty amazing. And Love Dive somehow topped 11 because I loved 11 so much, and then Love Dive came out and I loved Love Dive so much. But then I'll talk about Afterlike right now because I don't have the physical album yet, but Afterlike almost immediately topped Love Dive for me. I don't know what it is about Love Dive, but I experience something on a whole different level whenever I listen to that song, and I love it so much. I don't know, I think a lot of what I love about K-pop is just that song. I don't know, you know, I wasn't really even impressed with much of the concept like in the teasers and stuff before the song came out. Afterlike itself is just so like amazing, and I love it. But I think if we were to pit Love Dive and Afterlike against each other, Love Dive would win concept wise for me, but Afterlike would win song wise for me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to what IVE does more in the future, because I think what they're doing right now is like super amazing, and I really hope that streak continues. And then for April, we also have Yoon Ji-sung's Miro, and this is actually a really recent acquisition. These were also given to me as a gift, but of course they did come out this year, so actually the versions are this way. This album is good, and there's a song with Junghyun on it, and I like that song a lot. So okay, and then May, we have Le Sserafim debut. So this is the only version of the album that I have, and I am not currently fully collecting album-wise for Le Sserafim. Photo card-wise is a different question. I am fully collecting Yoonjin, but that's kind of not what this video is about. But I'm not collecting albums fully for Le Sserafim as of right now. I think maybe as time goes on, I feel like that might change, just because I think they are like one of my favorite girl groups right now, so things are always subject to change. This is definitely probably like one of my favorite debuts of the year. I love Fearless so much. When I first heard the song, there's not a track list on here, but when I first heard the song, I was I liked it, but also was a little underwhelmed. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what we got. And I wasn't disappointed, but I just kept listening to it, and suddenly I was like listening to it on repeat basically, and it became one of my favorite songs of the year. And I think it is one of the most solid debuts of the year. I genuinely think Fearless is amazing, and I think honestly like it was a good place to start with Le Sserafim. So I also really love this album as a whole. I love Blue Flame, and The Great Mermaid is really good, and Sour Grapes as well. Fearless I think is probably my favorite song on the album, just because like it's just really stuck with me over time. But then I think Blue Flame would probably be second for me. I think that song is so amazing. But okay, next is this. So this is from 20's fourth single. This is an amazing song. I think from 20 is just, Rayjuan, I guess. He's amazing at what he does, really, and I love all of his music so much. So of course I had to get this. He actually did have a fifth single come out this year, but I missed it, which is unfortunate. Usually for his singles I will join a group order, and I just missed the group order, but it's not that big of a deal. I'm not too hurt about it. But yeah, this song is amazing. I highly recommend checking out if you haven't heard it yet. Okay, and then last for May I have Beatbox, and I only have one version of it. I have not been able to get the last probably two that I need, but I do just have the one. So yeah, I also do really like the concept for this album. Again, I can't say that this is like my favorite like album ever, just because I mean there's only a few new songs, but I mean I like Beatbox. Again, it's just not like my favorite title track of Dreams. Yeah, there's not really much to add to this, but hopefully I can get the last few albums I need to like finish this. Okay, next we move on to June. So there's one June release that I got, and that would be Nayeon's solo debut. These albums are a little bit too big to fit on screen, but I did get all 4 versions, and I do also have the vinyl version that came out more recently. Yeah, these were pretty easy access at Target, so I went ahead and, well, I think I only got one copy from Target, and then I bought the rest from Music Plaza. But I really liked this release a lot. I think all different concepts for this were beautiful. This concept in particular is probably my favorite. But yeah, I think overall concepts are beautiful. Pop was an amazing song. I think it came out at like just the right time for the summer. And then No Problem is, I think, probably my favorite song on the album. It is so good. But yeah, overall as a whole, I do enjoy this album a lot. I'm looking forward to like seeing what more like Twice does with solos and maybe units and stuff like that, just because this was like such a success. So I'm very interested to see what they do. Okay, and then we move on to July. So for July I did buy aespa's Girls album, and surprisingly this was, I think, their only like official comeback this year, which is weird. I feel like, well, I was watching their performance at like one of the Gayos that they did recently. I don't know which one it was, it might have been KBS. But I was just thinking about how like we need a comeback from them, and I would really like more music from them. Yeah, this album, I am pretty sure that Illusion is my favorite song. I do like Girls, but Illusion kind of beats it out. And I really do like Lingo as well. I will say Life's Too Short is a little bit too cornballish for me. Not my thing. But I do like, overall the album is pretty good. So yeah, I only have this one version of the album because I don't collect them in full, like same with Le Sserafim. But yeah, so next we have ITZY's Checkmate. So I currently have 4 versions. I have all of the member versions except for Yuna. That just has not been in my budget lately, so I haven't gotten it yet. And then I also have one of the special editions and then the limited edition as well. First things first, I am a sneakers enthusiast. I love sneakers, and I feel like one of like 5 people that do. Yeah, I don't know what it was about it, but I never really hated it. I understand why a lot of people are maybe disappointed by it, because it is not exactly what you'd expect from ITZY, but I still really enjoy it like thoroughly, like so much. And I just think it's so fun, and that is like exactly what I'm looking for at all times, is just to have fun. I love sneakers. I'll say it any day, anytime. Is there a track list anywhere for this album? So album wise, I like the album, but I think What I Want is my favorite B-side. So okay, and then we have August. So there's one release I have from August, and that is Twice's Between 1 and 2. So I do have all 4 versions of this. I loved this release so much. Talk That Talk is really amazing. My favorite B-side on this is Trouble. Something about that song kind of got me more recently. Before that, I probably would have said my favorite B-side is Basics, but recently I was listening to it and something just kind of clicked in my brain where I was like, I need to listen to this nonstop. So Trouble is definitely my top B-side of this album. But I do like the whole album a lot. Yeah, and I always honestly really just, at this point, I love to see Twice come back because they always do such great things every single time, and I just love Twice so much, and I think I always will. So then we have September. There was actually quite a few releases in September, but I didn't get to most of them. Blackpink and NMIXX had comebacks in September. I plan to buy those, but just not right now. I will say NMIXX Dice is, again, one of my favorite songs of the year. I love that song so much, but it was actually kind of a surprise, but I was really hoping that I would really love NMIXX's comeback just because I wasn't a fan of their debut as much. I guess the title track, I really loved Tank, but I was not let down with Dice. So yeah, anyways, for September, we do have two baddies, and I do have all versions of this album just because they were pretty easy access, mostly at Target and stuff like that. So I have the two baddies version, the faster version, and the Target exclusive version. And then I also do have Haechan's Digipack. This album, okay, so it's always really hard to like set expectations for NCT title tracks because you never really know what you're gonna get. I guess just for 127, maybe not NCT in general, but I do like two baddies, although it doesn't live up to Sticker for me. Sticker has made its way up to like being one of my favorite K-pop songs of all time, so it definitely would be hard to beat. But I do like Two Baddies and I'll listen to it frequently, I guess. I will say I didn't like the song Faster at first, but I listened to it more recently and I'm like, yeah, I do kind of like this. And I think my favorite song overall on the album would probably be Time Lapse. I think that's so amazing. But also, I really enjoy Gold Dust and Designer a lot as well. I think overall, I like this album a bunch. My first listen, I was very, very impressed. I remember like distinctly loving the album as a whole, like immediately on first listen, and I have been enjoying it quite a bit ever since it came out, so I'm definitely not disappointed by this release, and yeah, definitely love a good 127 album. And then we move on to October, so we have LE SSERAFIM's Anti-Fragile. I do like this album, not quite as much as Fearless though, but I do like Anti-Fragile a lot. It's definitely grown on me more and more as time has gone by, so this kind of cemented my status as a fan of LE SSERAFIM. Yeah, I do really like Impurities on this album. I will say as a whole, I don't like this album as much as Fearless, but I still think it's good. And then for October, we also have Alice's Dance On. So this is, again, just one of my favorite songs of the year, and I think many of you who are familiar with my channel and my collection will know that I don't really collect Alice, but I was super excited for this comeback when it got announced just because they've been gone for quite a while. They're just always been a group I've kind of passively paid attention to. I don't even know if that'd be the correct way to phrase it, but I've been, you know, casually listening to them for quite a while and like just paying attention to them. This song on first listen, I was like obsessed, and this, when I say that this song is every single thing that I love about K-pop in one song, I am not even exaggerating. I think concept-wise, song-wise, sound-wise, dance-wise, just everything about it is everything I love about K-pop, and it just made me extremely happy, and I love it so much. It's really hard to kind of fully express, but I'm just really happy that Alice were able to come back with this song specifically. Yeah, I don't know. Alice is definitely more on my radar now than they ever have been. I definitely do have a bias now, which is not something I could say before. EJ is definitely the love of my life, and I think she is the most beautiful woman to ever exist. So I'm very, very thankful for this release, and I don't know, love it so much. Okay, and last release of 2022 is ITZY's Cheshire. So I have the limited edition, and then I also have all three of the normal versions. I will say this album hasn't really been out for very long, like at the point that I'm filming this, but I do really like Cheshire. I will say, honestly, it's probably one of my least favorite title tracks for ITZY, but I feel like a lot of ITZY's title tracks are like timeless art pieces that I'll never get tired of. So like sometimes it feels like it'll be hard for ITZY to live up to some of the things that they've put out in the past, just because I love them so much. But I do still think this is really good. I am a fan of Cheshire. Boys Like You, actually, I do enjoy. I know this song, people hated it when it came out, but I think it's good. I don't necessarily have any problems with it, and I think Snowy and Freaky are pretty good songs as well, so I think overall it is pretty solid of an album for me, although I just think it's sometimes hard for, you know, ITZY to really outdo themselves. So yeah, that was it for 2022 releases. I think honestly this is my slowest year ever in terms of collecting. Ever since I started collecting in like 2015, I've bought so many albums every year, and this year I really toned it down to really my highest priorities and really buying from like my favorite groups and stuff like that. And I didn't even keep up with a lot of like my priority groups, which really says something about how I've gone about collecting this year. So, but while I still do have some albums I kind of need to get to for the year, I'm not super far behind. If I look at my list, I only need to get about 5 different albums, plus, you know, a few versions or whatever, but I'm only missing Uptension's most recent comeback. NMIX, I plan to get 1 copy of their last comeback, and then for Blackpink, I plan to get like 3 copies of the album or whatever eventually. And then I just need to catch up on like NCT Dream and stuff like that, so I'm not really far behind. I also need to get IVE's Afterlife, but you know, I haven't really missed out on much. I just also haven't really been able to pick up anything new this year, so that's kind of sad. But yeah, anyways, I'm going to move on to showing you like the non-2022 releases that I got this year pretty quickly. So I did start collecting Signature this year, so I got all 3 of their albums. I did kind of expect them to have a comeback this year, but they did not, which is kind of sad. This is just their Dear Diary Moment album, and then also their Listen and Speak album. And I also got Good Days All Day Good Day, which is arguably one of my favorite K-pop albums. I think concept-wise and song-wise it is amazing, and I will always miss Good Day. Yeah, I definitely mourn Good Day, but I'm happy to have this finally, because this originally came out in 2017 and I've just been wanting to get it for a long time. And then we also have Hot Issue's Issue Maker. So I got into Hot Issue more at the end of last year when Icons came out. Of course they disbanded before I could have a comeback with them, so I think Hot Issue is another one of those groups that I will always just mourn and be sad. And Gratata is like one of my favorite songs ever. I love it so much. And then we also have Laboom's Between Us. This is another like album I've been wanting for a really long time. Ever since Between Us came out, it's been like literally one of my favorite songs ever. Between Us is actually in my the top 5 of my Spotify Wrapped this year, so if that tells you how much I love the song when it came out 4 years ago, I'm serious. And I also really love Love Game, and I think the concept for this album, I just hit the camera, sorry. The concept for this album is super beautiful, so this was something I really wanted to have for my collection. If I could ever get their album with Journey to Atlantis on it, that would be great, because that's also like one of my favorite K-pop songs ever. So, and then lastly, I got Leehi's 24 Degrees Celsius album. I got this because I went to I found out there was a K-pop store near me. It's not in my city, but it is in a city that is closer to me. It is a bit of a drive, but it's close enough to where I can go there like often. And I just wanted to go there and see what they had, and they had this, which I think this album I'm sure is out of print because she's not in YG anymore, but I don't think it's like out of stock anywhere. Like, I think I could just go on Music Plaza and buy this if I really wanted to, but I figured I'd just buy it in store because I was there. It was a little bit pricey because I feel like that's just kind of standard for in-person K-pop stores, but it is what it is. Yeah, that was kind of it for everything that I got in 2022. I do really have plans to kind of pick up collecting more consistently in 2023. I just need to be employed to do that, so we're gonna work hard on that. And so this year I started to just like, I gave myself the rule that if I liked a release enough that I could just kind of buy it, at least a copy of it. I don't have to buy like all versions, but like at least 1 copy of the album, and that's what I kind of did this year, especially like with Le Sserafim, you know, Alice, and I don't know, I think that might be it, like IVE. So I do plan to kind of do that more, but I also honestly just need to get back into listening to new releases more consistently because I have not done that this year. I was really behind on a lot of releases, and I've been trying to kind of listen to as much as I possibly can this month in December, just to catch up before the new year so I can kind of, you know, start fresh without feeling like I have a whole bunch of stuff I've missed. So yeah, that's definitely one thing that I'm going to work on a lot in, I guess, the next few weeks, and like I just need to like keep that a thing in 2023. I think I'm going to make a video about 2023 goals or plans for collecting in 2023. So I think I'll stop that conversation there. But yeah, with that said, I think that was everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.